What's up everyone, it's Nailan here at Nalitech Studio, so welcome once again, and today we are challenging some Photoshop with Archicad fills and Archicad layers. Let's jump right in. So here's what to expect, and that is going to be a full representation of a design section which has the textures imported as images and some arrows that show the stack effect, that is the incoming and outgoing air currents in a building, and then some sun coming into the building, and then also some context to add some depth to the drawing. So first of all, we need to begin by drawing this thing. So for us to draw it, we will go to document and we will pick a section. So let's get a basic section. Now tweak a few things in order to do this. So once I have drawn this section along this area where I had my previous one, I'm going to open it by right clicking and open it to current view. And this is what I do have. So I want to remove the things which are behind by checking this in order to remove anything that's beyond the building itself, and I'll open it again. This is kind of what I have, and I need to tweak a few things because this is the very basic section that you get, and we want to get it to look like this. So what we'll do is to come to the tab, right click and go to section settings, and in the section settings we want to go to model display because that is where we are going to change a few things. One is the cut fill. We can override the cut fill, and I have them selected already, so make everything else black in the cut fill such that it is going to be black. For the uncut fill, I'm going to use on surface non-shaded such that we have some flat image that has the colors retained, and I will check a uniform pen such that I do away with the different colors that come with the default Archicad section, and be sure to uncheck the transparency such that we don't have things showing up through, and that will be it. So I'll say okay and it generates, and this is a nice flat drawing that we were looking for. So first thing that we need to do is to put in textures, and unfortunately we cannot put textures from this section view, and we have to copy it to the ground floor because then we can deal with them as different fills. And I know the caveat is that we will not be able to update in case we make any changes on the ground floor, but you know, it comes at a cost. So we'll copy everything and put it on the ground floor or in a space where we're going to work with. Ctrl C and Ctrl V to paste. So I have attached a PDF shortcut below, so if you are interested, pick it because it contains some of the few shortcuts that I'll be using in this video. But if not so, I have a software that shows you the letters that I do press here, so you can watch out for them. So for us to change the texture like this one, we must upload an image texture. And an image texture, all we have to do is to go to options, element attributes, and go to fields. And once we have that loaded in, we can create a new image field which we are going to call brick texture. And I say okay. So you can see that now we have an option of browsing it. So we can click on browse and find wherever the brick texture is. Now I do have it already embedded into the library such that it's easy for us to find. But if you haven't, I'll close here and I'll show you. So you go to File, Libraries and Objects, Library Manager, and in here is where you can add the Assets folder, which I have attached in the description below. So download it if you are interested in using the very textures that I am using for this example. So go to the location where you have it downloaded, And I will make sure the whole assets folder is chosen, and I'll bring it in. You can see I have it already loaded. So go OK. Back to where we were loading in the fields, which is options, element, attributes, and fields. We come here, and what we had just created was a brick texture, and it was not saved. So we will create it again. And we call it image fill, and we will browse for that image fill, which is going to be under assets in textures. We will have the rustic brick right there. So after I did my counting, the actual size of this is more than this, which is going to be 4 meters. Make sure the keep original proportion is checked such that we do not lose the aspect ratio of this image. And also check cover fill such that it's enabled in the cover fill, and we say OK. And once we have done that with this image fill selected, we can come here and we see the option of changing it to the brick texture which we have just created. Simple and beautiful, right? So now I will pick this very material by alt clicking, and by Ctrl Alt paste it in this area. Ctrl Alt, and I will continue to do this for the rest of the places where it's supposed to be. Alright, so for the second texture, I already saved it before, so I will just select one of these and I put in the stone cladding that I created with the procedure that I did show you. So I will alt click and take it to where it's supposed to be at other different spaces. Pretty cool, huh? So if you're getting value from this video, make sure to hit that like button because it helps out the channel so much. Next is this texture right here, which is supposed to be our stucco white. Once it is selected, I will pick it and put it in places where it's supposed to be. Simple and very cool, right? We also have some wood texture here, so these two are supposed to be replaced by a wood grain texture. Pretty cool, which is supposed to show up also under this roof right here. And finally, for the textures, we also have these doors that are supposed to receive a metal scratch texture. Loading it in, I pick it by Alt and then Ctrl Alt click in order to put it in areas where it's supposed to show up on the rest of the drawing. As simple as that. This one as well was supposed to be a wood plank material. And for the glass, I used a material which is foreground and choose a darker blue. And I'll tweak it soon. So now we have the basic overlays, and now I can delete things which I do not need from the model. So once the materials are ready, now it's time to tweak them such that they look a bit more realistic. One is that we need to send something like this to the back because it's a wall that's supposed to be at the back. So how do we do that? The trick that I do use is to just make a copy of it. That's by Control D, and pressing Control again, you see a plus right there. So double click it such that it's now duplicated. That means that we have now a different layer on top of that. So that layer, I'm going to change it to a percentage fill. Let me begin with 75. So you can see that it has overridden what's existing. All you have to do is to come right here and choose a color that you like. In this case, I need to have a white fill, and then in the background, I want to change it to transparent, and look what happens, right? It's just overlaying what we already do have. So I have Control G to group such that it's easy for me to select. So if I do select it with the suspend group unchecked, I have those together, and now I can tweak the percentage that I do like, whether it's 50% in order to bring it a little closer, or even 25% to have a simple feel right there. But about 75% was looking good for the style I'm going for. And that's exactly what I need to do for the rest of the things. If I, for example, wanted to send a little bit back this material right here, which I can easily select, then I'll Control D to drag and Control again to have that plus, and then I'll click and click in order to place the things exactly where they are. I want to group them such that it's easy for me to find them, and then I change to a percentage fill that I like. In this case, maybe 50%. It looks horrible at first, but now we need to change to maybe a white that I am going to give a transparent background, and now this thing has been sent to the back. Easy and nice. Let me actually change this to 25 such that it's not so far back. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing to this brick, and you realize it's really pretty hard to select everything which is in here. So actually it is grouped already, which makes it easy to select, which is really good. So once I have them selected, because the grouping is unchecked, so I will Control D to drag, and then Control again to have that plus to make a copy. Then I click once and click twice to place the duplicate in the same place. So I'll Control G to group what I have just done such that it's easy to find, and then I'll change it to whatever I need to change. And currently it's at brick material, but I want to change it to something like to the air drafting surface such that I can access the percentage fills, and change the top one to white and the other one to transparent. And there you have it. Pretty cool. If you wanted to bring it further back, you could increase the percentage, but I like the look of 50%. Easy to go ahead and tweak. For the glass as well, before I move to the arrows, I could give it a percentage fill such that I have maybe like 70%, and then also put a transparent background such that in case I put any background, it will show through the glass. So I'll go ahead and copy those attributes and put them in every glass. You see in a moment why I did that. So first, let's bring the arrows that communicate the direction. And the way I did one of these arrows was to just trace over this using the document tab. There's this spline which you can begin to draw all over here. Double click to finish, click and go around. Double click to finish, and then with the another tool which is going to be a polyline, I did draw around this other area in order to get this sort of shape out. So this is just an image, and on top I have drawn these things which I needed to reference. So you can see that now, once with this, I can create a fill within. So if I drag the copy of this and bring it to where I need to have it, actually I put it out such that it's easy for me to get a fill and drop it in there. And the fill that I did use was a lighter color, and then I space click to place it. Simple as that. So I can bring the fill back to this place right here, and now I have a nice arrow. Obviously it's at the back. Right click, display order, bring it to front, and you have yourself a nice convection current image. And that's exactly what I did for the rest of the things. So I'll drag them and bring them to space. And in order to create the gradient on top of these ones, all I did was to change this from what currently is. By changing it to drafting, I can access a linear gradient, and in the gradient I can change to run from red to blue, the blue that I did choose. So I'll move this such that it's easy to do that. And I'll copy that and bring it in here, and of course move this gradient line such that it shows you Alt and Control Alt click in order to place it, and then it shows you that nice gradient that communicates air that is gradually warming. The same thing for here. Control click in order to place it, and I bring this air, this gradient line to somewhere like there. Clean and simple. And for the earth, the gradient on the earth, all I did was to use the gradient fill as well. So with the linear gradient selected, I will use the black and then transparent on the other side, such that now I am able to draw a fill that communicates the earth. Obviously it's placed in the wrong way. Let me first add in this area right here. So that's the area it's supposed to cover, but we need to flip this such that it faces down. And we have ourselves a nice gradient that communicates the earth beneath. So you can adjust the control of this thing in order to have it to the height and contrast that you need. Easy and simple. For the sun as well, it is the gradient. So the arrow that I did use is this right here that I used in Photoshop, and all I need is to have that gradient selected, and obviously it's going to be yellow, but for now I will leave it with the black and white and just draw over this with this polygon selected. I'll roughly draw over, and I'll bring this to somewhere like here. Right click, display order, bring it to front, and change the orientation of this, and as well change the color here to yellow. cool, nice, and simple. If you are not subscribed to the channel yet, I'm not sure what you're waiting for, because below the like and subscribe buttons, I have attached this assets folder from which we have images that we will need to use. All you have to do is to drag and drop the sky in and the birds as well. And let's kind of scale them in to get them to where we need them to be. Using Ctrl K, I'll scale it once more, and that's ready and nice and beautiful. These birds as well, all I have to do is to check transparency such that I enable the PNG to be treated naturally, and I'll scale them as well by Ctrl K and have these things pretty damn good. And in order to send them to back, right click, display order, send to back, and pretty happy with that. In order to send them a bit further, all I have to do is to use a fill, which is going to be a percentage fill, and I'm going to choose white, and I'm going to choose transparent for the background layer, and I will overlay on top of this, but it's on top of everything else. I can bring this my gradient forward, and it's looking cool with that nice background, but we need to add a bit more characters, so we'll go to the object and we will type in man in order to have some characters. So we'll use this guy around the stair area, and we will come in a 2D representation and change that to background such that I have a nice white thing going on. And I place him and looks good. And you will go ahead and put in more characters the same way. Just choosing the character you want, changing it to front, and in representation, changing the color that you want to see the silhouette in. White for my case, and I place it right there. And you can orient the person to where you want them to be, which is pretty cool. And some more stuff that are going to enhance this is adding some trees. So if you open up this dialog box, you can type in tree literally, and you will have it. You'll have some trees in here, and you can choose side view in order to see them in side view when you're into the representation, and you can choose maybe the foggy type and have it placed wherever you so wish, and scale it to the size that you like, and display order, send backward in order to have it just after the layer that blurs out the background. Nice and simple. I could make a copy right here and maybe have this one even smaller than it is right now. I could position it anywhere else. And there you have it, something that looks super cool. And in order to show the background through this glass, all you have to do is select that glass and reduce the opacity to something like maybe 50 or even 25. in my case, and that looks just about cool and nice. Now copy it and put it in other glass such that I give the illusion of reflection in the glass. Nice and simple. So one more thing we can do is to put a character that is going to be behind that glass. So how do we put him? We get a lady. There you are, and change to background as we did before. Come and place her in. Of course, she needs to be on front view, and there you have her, and display orders, send backward until she is just behind that glass. Simple and nice representation. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.